Welcome to the 5th episode of the Back Page podcast. My name is Mark McGoldrick, and in this special podcast series, which is being brought to you in association with the Balmore Court and Motel in Enniskillen, we'll be celebrating the careers of some of Fermanagh's leading sports stars. For this episode, I sat down with Brendan Dolan, the Belcoo man who is one of the world's top darts players. Brendan has been a consistent figure at the top of the sport for many years, winning a host of major tournaments. And the history maker is determined to keep competing with the likes of world champion Luke Littler for a few more years yet. Brendan, thank you very much for joining us today on our new podcast series.
You're very welcome, Mark. A pleasure to be on it now.
And how's things been for you lately? I suppose the World Championships are over now and it's been a wee while. Have you enjoyed a bit of downtime?
Oh yeah, definitely have enjoyed putting the darts away for a good 2-3 weeks and just getting away from what it was maybe just continuous throwing, and even though when you're not at competitions, because I wasn't playing so well, I was trying so hard in between tournaments to put it right on the practice board, and it does get on top of you at times and you do need a break from it, so the break has been very welcomed.
Yes, but you're soon back in action again. I saw you're getting ready for the Battle of the Four Nations event, and that's something to look forward to, I'm sure.
Oh yes, it's especially in an iconic venue like Twickenham and that. So it's something to look forward to. It's something that I wouldn't normally be doing or like that. So something new, something different, and it'll be great to put on a performance for the people there.
Yeah, and just thinking back to the World Championships, Brendan, you had a good win and then you lost out to Ryan Searle. How do you reflect back on the event now?
Well, I think, overall I was going in, because I didn't have such a good year, I was going in with optimism rather than with, expectation of doing well. And obviously in any tournament to get over the first hurdle is, tough, but it was nice to do it. And especially when the young lad played so well against me, he just missed a few opportunities and I swept them up. So that was the key to the game, and that I took all the opportunities I was getting. And, it was nice to get the win. Against Ryan, I possibly didn't get as many chances because Ryan was really, he was hitting it. He was his finishing was excellent, especially on tops and that, and that's his trademark really. And just didn't get scoring enough, not enough to treble visits, which is a bit disappointing, seeing in the first round that hadn't really let me down. But it was one of those things, and I suppose now for me it's just wiping the slate clean and starting fresh again.
Yes, and Luke Littler obviously retained the trophy, but there's so many good players on the tour now, so when you're competing at all them different events, is it very strong competition and you're coming up against top players?
Well, you're coming up against the best in the world, and that's just the way it is. And like you say, I think it's getting stronger all the time. And maybe not the top end of the game. It hasn't changed so much, but definitely what's lower down is raising their game to a higher standard. So overall, the standard's a lot higher. You just don't get away with as much as maybe you would have done maybe 10 years ago. So it's one of them things. You have to be going strong from where to go, and that's what it's all about now.
And we see the big events on TV and stuff, but for you darts players that are on the tour playing in the likes of the Players' Championship, it must be very demanding with a lot of travelling involved and a lot of time spent away from home.
Well, it is. You're constantly going now, and the start of this year so far. I've just looked at February, and away in the middle of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You come home and you're away again on Sunday, and you're playing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday again, and you could be then flying off to Europe to play in a weekend tournament in Prague, and you'll be coming back then to play in Leicester, and before you even get home, so for a couple of days. So it is demanding, a lot of time spent away from home, but I suppose that's what I signed up for. So I know what's entailed now, and I suppose there's nothing else I would be doing.
Yes, that's super. And I suppose for just to give a wee bit of an insight to people, what would a typical day of practice look like for you, Brendan, if you were getting ready for a big tournament? Like, are you spending hours on the board or?
Well, a typical day for me now would be getting on the board around 9 o'clock in the morning, and you'll be spending maybe an hour and a half or so, maybe then get something to eat, just a light snack or that there. Probably get a light snack, eat it, there's 20 minutes gone, probably sit down for another 20 minutes, and then get up at it again, and probably do another couple hours, 2 hours or whatever, and chill out in the afternoon for an hour, and after your evening tea you might have another couple hours in the evening, so you're generally get about 4 or 5 hours in during the day, which is, when you break it up, it's not really that much. You get to do other things as well in between, so it's not too bad. But especially when you got the evening to do as well, you can extend your day. Whereas if you're doing a normal day's work, you cram your 5 or 6 hours all day from the morning to the afternoon time. So whereas I can stretch it, a lot longer. So it is. It's tough, I suppose, because it's you're doing it on your own all the time. So it's mentally hard to motivate yourself always to get up and get at it. But it's easier when there is a big tournament coming up, rather than just for the Pro Tours and Euro Tours that you generally play all the time.
And I suppose for the level that you have to be at, it's a non-negotiable really. You have to put in the hours of practice to make sure your game's in as good of shape as it can be.
Well, the thing is, everybody that's on tour is a talented dart player, and you have to make a difference between you and them. And the difference is the effort that you're willing to put in compared to the effort they're willing to put in. You have to make your game to the best of your ability, the highest level. And, the more effort you put in, the more confident you do feel about it, and which any dart player will need confidence. So if you install confidence into yourself by the effort you put in, you're going to actually play better on tour as well. So, you definitely nowadays you do need to put the effort in.
And you mentioned the mental side about how you have to keep yourself motivated, and even when you're watching from TV up on the hockey, it can be it looks like a bit of a lonely place sometimes when maybe the crowd's not on your side. So having that mental strength must be very important as well.
Well, it is. It's more or less being able to get the focus and keep the concentration, and the crowd on your side can be a distraction as well, and a crowd against you can be a distraction. But if you're fully concentrated and stay in the moment, you can maybe blank a lot of that out. But again, it is a one-man show, if you know what I mean. So it is lonely, and when things go wrong, that's probably when you feel it the most. You can't look for help from anyone else, or not even the crowd. Even if they were supporting you, they're not actually able to put the darts in the right place for you. But it's better to have the crowd on your side, because it can, possibly emotionally lift you up, maybe put you in a good place, and maybe it's easier to forget the bad shots when the crowd's behind you.
And I suppose everybody is know a lot about you now from how your career's progressed. But for people tuning into this podcast, maybe just for the first time, where did your love of darts really stem from a young age, Brendan?
Right. Well, it was very young age. I was around 4 or 5 years of age, and my two brothers are 10 and 9 years older than me, and they'd be throwing in the house, playing darts, and as a wee child, I just wanted to do what my big brothers were doing. So I ended up, wasn't allowed in the house to throw darts. But obviously, my mother and father took pride in their house, so they wouldn't let a child in at that age. So I played in the garage, played on a dartboard, just propped up against the wall. It was a very, old dartboard. It was one of the black and white ones with the plastic as the wires around it. So it's before the days of wires, so it was a long time ago. And I used to throw on that for hours, and eventually onto a full-size proper dartboard, and then it gradually moved up the wall as I got older, and I think I was maybe 10 years of age before I actually got into the house, and obviously playing against my brothers in the house from a very young age, and went to my first tournament when I was 12 years of age, and I won it, and so it was an under-18 tournament in Enniskillen. It was a youth club one. So ended up, I just kept playing tournaments, kept winning, just got the bug, as you do say. It's nice when you're winning things and you're playing well, or you're good at it. It's easier to stay playing these things. So I used to just go around tournaments, and it gradually just led to meeting professionals when they came over to Ireland and that, and playing against them in tournaments in the late 90s. And one of them was sponsored by a friend of mine, and he actually said that I should actually join the PDC. And in 2002, I actually did join the PDC, and I've been playing ever since, and full time at it since about 2011. But I've been playing a lot of tournaments on the circuit at part time since 2002. So that is me to now. I've always basically played darts all my life, and I'm now 52 years of age.
This episode is proudly supported by Belmore Court and Motel, Northern Ireland's original motel, offering a true home from home in the Fermanagh Lakelands. From the trails and lakes to cheering on our incredible local sporting talent, we believe looking after what matters. Our guests, our community, and our environment is always worth celebrating. Find your perfect stay at motel.co.uk.
It was a big decision for you to make, to go full-time professional, knowing like the calibre of the player. So you must have had good belief in yourself that you could really make a good career out of it, Brendan.
Well, yes, I made the jump in 2011, and I had been playing in the World Championships since 2008. So I had possibly that inner belief, but I also had the belief that I needed to be a bit better, and what would make me better would be dedicating more time on the practice board and not having to work all week and then just jump on a plane over to England at the weekend and get a tournament over there. So I then decided, I would try for 6 or 8 months, just see how it went, with put more effort in. And it actually seemed to put more pressure on me because I had no other income, and I seemed to just lose a lot of games 6-5 early days. And basically, I worked even harder when I had 2 months off in July and August that year, and ended up that worked for me, and I slowed my throw down, and I'd done a lot of things of looking at how I throwed, things like that. So ended up I done well enough in September to qualify for the Grand Prix, and then the Grand Prix probably changed my life. getting to the final, doing the 9-darter in the semi-final. And, it brought me so much belief as well that, I was competing with the best player in the world, Phil Taylor, on a TV final stage. So that brought a lot of belief to me, knowing then that, I was definitely good enough to play with these lads. So I had every right to give it a good go.
And the two of us, we have talked in the past about the Grand Prix and the 9-darter, but for people tuning in, what do you remember about that whole experience? That must be one of the highlights of your career to date.
Oh, it's definitely one of the highlight of the career to date, because it was in Dublin, and all the support I had was immense that week. Like, after, from getting through round one and meeting people, around the hotel, and the support I was getting, it just, made you feel good. And next thing, when you hear the roars cheering you on, when you're on the stage, it was fantastic. And obviously, as the week went on, the crowds were getting bigger, and it was just great. And for it to erupt on that Saturday night after I'd done the 9-darter, like, there was 3,000 of a crowd there, roared and chanting my name and singing ole, 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 and it was absolutely fantastic. And it put me on cloud nine, that feeling. And, it's, to be fair, I don't think I've had that feeling ever since, or that support, but the crowd was immense to me that week, so it was.
And all through your career, your family has been played such a massive role in your career. But your wife, Teresa, she's been a bit different. She's been with you all the time, all by your side, and she's helped your career and helped your game and your confidence and everything, I'm sure.
Teresa is such a massive support to me. It's like, through any sportsman, they will tell you they have their down times and disbelief in what they're doing, and don't, maybe thinking that it's not for them anymore, or things like that there. And I've had them moments in my career, and the one person that's told me to wise up that it's not happening, that I wasn't quitting, was my wife Teresa. She just keeps telling me how talented I am, and what she sees me doing in practice, how great it is and unbelievable. And she just wants me to be the best dart player I can be, and she keeps pushing me to keep trying. And I have to say, without her, I probably would have quit long ago now. I definitely would have. I think about 6-7 years ago I would have quit, and she's just keep driving me on and just encouraging me. She's always got the right words, like when I do play bad, she will leave it and she will just point out the facts to me, because she knows I don't like people just saying, "Oh, you were unlucky," for the sake of it. She will actually tell me where, you held your head wrong, you were shaking your head, you give too much bad vibes out, you encourage your opponent, that's how he got on top of you, because all these things that I do wrong or whatever, she will tell you, just work on that and try not to do that again, and your natural game will come out. Just keep putting in the effort. And she says all the right things at the right time. And when you see captions of her on the telly, how enthusiastic she is about it, and it's great the support I get. Like, and she's definitely my number one fan.
It's brilliant to have someone like that can give you the advice and that encouragement whenever you really need it.
Yeah, well, she knows me, and possibly she knows me so well, so she knows possibly what I'm thinking at certain times, if I'm doing certain things, and she knows that's right or that's wrong to do, and she understands the game of darts, and she has knowledge. She's played a bit in the past, like herself, so obviously not a very high level, just at a local pub level, but she understands the game, like and she just knows me so well, so she can tell me when I go wrong, and I do listen to her because I know when I get a few minutes to calm down, she's right, and I possibly would be looking at things like I'm one of those that I do look to see what did I do wrong, like, and there is an odd day, especially on the pro tours, you can hit high 100+ averages and still get beat, and just realise you just didn't do anything wrong. It was just the opponent's timing was that little bit better, and it just wasn't meant to be. And that's the way you look at them. But when you do poor performances and you're not, it's something to, well, what can I do different? Can I do the preparation different? Little things they got there. So I do analyse it a lot. So with Teresa, they're able to, give an unbiased, well, I suppose she is still a bit biased because she wants me to do well, but, an outside point of view, looking in rather than just my own thoughts on it, it does help me to look at things in a better perspective.
And you have got over the line in a number, I think maybe you have 10 non-televised PDC titles, so I suppose just trying to put it all together in one of the big competitions and tournaments, is that what you'd really like to see now, maybe over the next 12 months or going forward?
It is, because really it's, that's probably what I'm missing from my CV as a TV title. Obviously, you'd love to win the Worlds and some of the big titles, but when you don't have one, you'll take any title. I have 10, PDC titles, which, no, they are hard to get to start with, but so it is an achievement to have them as well. But you obviously want to strive for more, and I'd love to get a Euro Tour, and I'd love to get a TV title, and that's the aim this year, is to work towards that. And you never know what's around the corner for you, but if I keep putting in the effort and still have the enthusiasm for the game, which I definitely do at the minute, I will definitely not quit until I get it.
And your rankings, obviously, there's great interest in them and people be looking at them. Do you pay much heed to your ranking, or are you just focused kind of on getting the practice in and making sure you're in the best shape possible for when the tournaments are coming up?
I think, I probably have over-focused on my ranking in the years gone past, and it has been a fault of mine. Because it puts pressure on you, and even, the start of last year I probably did, but I've always known, but I suppose I'm taking the policy now. I'm not going to care about my rankings. I'm just going to, play well and let, them take care of themselves. The better I play, the better I do in competitions, that's what I really have to focus on, because once you do that, well, then the rankings will take care of themselves. I'll start to move up again and everything like that there. So it's just something I need to focus on, the game of darts more rather than my position in life and ranking tables for things I got there. So it's something I need to forget about and just work on my game and play better.
And darts, it's massive now in sport, and everybody loves it and watches it. And since you started your career to now, do you notice how kind of the popularity has grown and how big it has got?
I definitely do, because there definitely, around the turn there in Enniskillen, you'd see people and they'd be asking how you're getting on, but to be of people of maybe in their mid 30s, 40s, that kind of range, or even 50s. But in the last 3-4 years now, it's actually school children coming up asking to get a selfie with you. Even around Enniskillen, there's a massive interest in darts, and a lot of that has to go down to the Luke Littler effect. Such a young man doing so well, making a career for himself at such a young age, and it is possible for other young people to do the same, and that's what they're looking at now, and seeing how lucrative it can be, and it is a possibility, a genuine possibility now of making a career for yourself in darts.
And in Fermanagh at the minute, there, as you say, there's such an interest, and there's competitions going in different pubs and places all the time. So, what advice would you give to maybe a young player starting out? Is it really important to put the practice in from an early age?
Well, you can start at any age, I would say, to be fair, but you need a certain good hand-eye coordination to start with for the basics, and just develop your game. And I wouldn't be in a panic to develop it, so enjoy the game, keep practicing, and the more you enjoy it, well, actually, naturally, the more practice you will put in. And obviously, as you grow in the sport, you will get the competitive edge, you will get the desire to be better, and you nurture that as you go along. But just starting off, just enjoy the game. Enjoy the interaction with your friends and mates. It is a social sport, and it does help you make friends and meet new people, and it crosses all boundaries and barriers that you may think is in life anyway. There is none in darts, and it doesn't matter if you are male or female in the sport. You have possibly the same ability to throw and play against each other. It's not somebody's strength or physical ability that would make one stronger than the other. Both can throw darts and both can play to a high standard. We now see the likes of Bo Greaves on the PDC tour, and what a brilliant thrower she is. And it just shows you there's no boundaries for anyone anymore, which is brilliant.
And looking ahead over the next 12 months, you're just going to keep focused, and hopefully good things are going to happen to you up in the Oche, Brendan.
Well, that's the plan, and we take it one day at a time, and obviously then one tournament at a time, and obviously the better start you make to the year, the more confidence you will have for the rest of the year. But it's one of those, you are playing against other players that are playing at such a high level now that you have to maybe learn to take defeats and get rid of them very quick and not have them linger on. Just look at your own performance and look to play well. And if you keep playing well at a high standard, even if you do get beat, that will change. That will change somewhere down the line, because the law averages say that when you keep playing well, you will start winning. And that's the intentions this year, to just knuckle down, focus on myself, not worry about anybody else. You get beat, shake the man's hand or lady's hand, and walk on from that there, and don't hold any baggage for the next time you play.
Brendan Dolan, thank you very much.
Pleasure, Mark. All the best there.